Hello, I'm Troy Parker, President of Innovative Labor and Cleaning, and this is another life lesson learned. Many times people believe that money or having money will solve all their problems. And I was like this myself. So money becomes your God, your power. And I worked in my early years to make money, and no matter what problem I had, I would always figure, okay, money, you just get more money or throw money at it. My happiness was based on money. The more money I had, then I could buy more cars, more homes. But money becomes like a drug because you're using money to obtain the things that you want or give you that comforting feeling inside that you're secure. You need more of it. One car isn't enough. It's no different than if you have an addiction habit. Then you need 2 cars. Next thing you know, you had 5 cars. And then before you know it, you have 13 cars. But the problem is every time you get one, the satisfaction and that happiness gets shorter and shorter. So you gotta keep, reaching for more and more things. In my situation, I started doing illegal things to get more money, to buy more things, to basically feed this habit. It's an addiction like any other addiction, whether it be drugs, whether it be, like I say many times, eating chocolate cake. The true issue in my case was I was using material things, money, as the way to, I thought, make myself happy. Now, many times I equate this and I use the movie Thor to show this example. In the movie Thor had great power, but he did not have the wisdom to go along with that power. So he would get into messes, and then he would use this power in the wrong way. And we all play many characters in life. It's like a movie. Sometimes we're the villain, sometimes we're the victim, and sometimes we're the hero. But we all have that hero within us. But many times the hero just doesn't pop up. Many times that hero within us, that hero, that divine part of us has to be developed. In the movie Thor, you see there's a confrontation with the frost giants, where his father clearly told him that, hey, you don't need to bother them, just leave them alone. But Thor, needing to show his power, and that was using his hammer, and he had strength and whatnot, he wanted to destroy them. But this showed lack of wisdom, and it also showed lack of foresight because he didn't realize all the effects that causing a conflict with the frost giants would cause. It would disrupt all the other realms. And you see his father explain this to him.
The Jotuns must pay for what they've done.
They have paid with their lives. The destroyer did its work. The casket is safe and all is well.
All is well? They broke into the weapons vault. If the frost giants had stolen even one of these relics...
They didn't.
Well, I want to know why.
I have a truce with Laufey, king of the Jotuns.
He just broke your truce! They know you are vulnerable.
What action would you take?
March into Jotunheim as you once did. Teach them a lesson. Break their spirits so they'll never dare try to cross our borders again.
You're thinking only as a warrior.
This was an act of war!
It was the act of but a few, doomed to fail.
Look how far they got!
We will find the breach in our defenses, and it will be sealed.
As king of Asgard...
But you're not king! Not yet.
Now, seeing that he was out of control and that he was only misusing his power, he was banished. Now, in my life, this banishment came from imprisonment. This is where everything is taken from you, and I was sentenced to prison. You have no money or very little. All your material comforts are taken away. You don't have a home. You have a bed, but it's a steel bed with a little flimsy mat. When you're in the county jail, it's a small box, maybe about this big, that you can put all your contents in, the size of a small moving box. Now, once you get to prison, you have a locker that's probably about the size of a little bigger than a very small refrigerator like you have in college. What this movie showed me is that many times we will put our belief in something like money, as I did, and it's not until that is taken away and we are left down and thrown out with nothing do we really start to develop the true inner power that we have. You see in the movie where Thor is banished and all is taken from him and he's cast down to earth. These movies, and there's Bible stories that do the same thing, are really telling us psychological stories that we go through. Now, his father Odin, in the movie, threw the hammer and cast it down to earth and said, "Let whoever be worthy possess the power of Thor." Meaning, whoever showed the actual character of Thor, of a god that could handle that type of power, be able to pick up that hammer. And if you remember in the movie, for a long time, Thor himself could not pick it up. He couldn't pull it out. The hammer was just stuck there. It wasn't until he went through a mental transformation. And what was that mental transformation? It was much the same that many who go to prison go through. We start looking back over our lives, as I did, and seeing why we made the decisions we made. Now, growing up, I wasn't the most popular kid in school. I wasn't the homecoming king or anything like that. Matter of fact, in my elementary school years, our family, and there's probably maybe 7 other, African-American families, were the only African-American families in an all-white school. So in the early 70s, you can believe there was a lot of racial disparities, and this does have an effect on the way you see yourself. So I saw that I always felt that I wasn't quite good enough. Also, I stuttered, and I was in special learning classes. So my self-esteem, as I've shared with you before, was very low. But what I didn't realize is this carried into adulthood. So when I got to adulthood, I was on a proving mission. I thought the more money I got, then I had more things, then I would be equal to people, and money became my power, my God. No matter what I had to do to get the money, it was okay. Because, okay, I'll pay it back, and now I can buy another house. And then you start doing things like you'd live in a house, like I did, for maybe 2-3 years and just move to another house. Not that anything was wrong with this house. It was just that you needed a new high. It was an addiction. And you'd use the money and the things to feed this addiction until the addiction comes so large and so out of control, much like in the movie of Thor, he became out of control. Him being out of control would have caused problems in all the 9 realms because he would have started doing things in the other realms. In my case, I started doing behaviors that were affecting the various banks. So when I was cast out or put in prison, it was time for me to really look inside, because now I no longer have that power of money. You have to start really developing yourself. And you will see a lot of courses out here that teach you how to make more money, how to make more sales, how to live the life you want. Basically selling you the same dream that if you have money, then you can buy the things and then you're gonna be happy. Don't believe that. Money merely just amplifies who you already are. If you're a jerk with a little bit of money, you're just gonna be a bigger jerk with a lot of money. The question, and I've shared this in other videos, is you have to ask yourself why you're doing the things you're doing. While in prison, what made me change was looking back and asking myself, why did I do that? Until it really boiled down, I had to admit, 1, I didn't feel good about myself. 1, I never felt I was really good as other people. So I'd use material things. Hey, look, I have this type of car. I'm as good as you. Or hey, I live in this neighborhood. But the problem is, no matter how much I kept buying, I still didn't feel good about myself. So I had to sit down and really start saying, okay, if I don't feel good about myself, what is it about myself that I need to change? There were some things that I needed to work on. I wasn't a very good reader. I mean, I could read and everything, but I didn't read a lot, especially in school. I don't think I read my first full book until I was in high school. So that was one of the things I began to work on, because I knew, okay, hey, this was a deficit that I needed to learn how to read better. So I had my mom send me the Wall Street Journal, and then I had a dictionary, and I'd read the Wall Street Journal every day, and any word I came to, I didn't know the definition, I had to look it up right then. Also, I started really looking at how I think and basically trying to develop that mindset that it talks about in the Bible. It speaks very much about having the mind of Christ, but it really never tells you, well, how do you do it? I stumbled upon a book by Ra, Nafar, and Min called The 11 Laws. And these 11 laws taught you or explain to you principles in your thinking. And I won't go through all 11 of them, but one of the first ones is something you hear me talk about all the time, and that is being at peace. And I saw that being at peace was understanding that it isn't normal for people to get upset and stay upset all day long. Whether you get upset in the morning because, hey, someone cut you off in traffic, and I use that example a lot. or you get fired from your job and you stay upset for, months, years, keeping yourself in an aggravated state, a stress state for a long period of time. And what was explained in this book, by doing that, keeping yourself in an aggravated state, as we're taught, that it's okay to be mad about this, or it's okay to get upset. When you're upset, the chances of you handling the problem in the right way are very low. We're going to basically handle it out of emotion, just like in the movie Thor. Thor was upset because the frost giants came in and tried to steal something from their weapons vault, and he wanted to attack. But his father told him they didn't succeed, so there was no harm. But Thor said, yeah, but they could have, and they need to pay a price. His father told him the ones who broke in did pay a price with their lives. His father stayed calm in the situation and looked at the big picture instead of overreacting as Thor later did and go try to attack the frost giants, which once again his father had to come save him, and then that led to his banishment. So what I'm trying to share with you is the change and the transformation that I went through was first changing the way I thought, and then that would change my behaviors. And it wasn't just not getting upset and staying calm. There's much more to it. And I go into that in other videos that I make, and that's some of the things that we share and teach many of our employees. The other thing I learned is not just about changing how I thought, but also how I looked at what I gave to others. Now, many people talk about giving value to the client. They're like, okay, you got to give your customers value. You got to establish value. But they never talk about giving value to the employees that provide these services to the customer. Our company is set up, and what I've tried to develop is first pour value into our team, our employees, giving them skills, and maybe there aren't skills that they'll use necessarily in their job with us, but skills that they need to have the life that they want. Because if an employee is happier and is satisfied in their life, then it's almost automatic they're going to work and provide the value to the customer. Instead of just jumping right and say, okay, you're going to do this, and when the customer calls, give them value, and you just, browbeat them with that. First, pour value into the employee, then automatically the employee is going to pour that value into the customer. No matter what you sell, whether it's cars, computers, businesses and products are basically built and provided by people. Even if you say something like computers where it's made with a robot, somebody controls that robot. It's not totally animated, so people are still involved. More so in customer service, like if you have a customer service center, like a call center, or if you're in a retail store. And even though we've gotten away from that with the Amazon, still behind the scenes of Amazon, and trust me, I know, there are people. There are people pulling those orders, even though some are becoming robotic, it's not 100%. So I found that giving value, not just to the customer, but first to our employees, will help get that value to the customer. These are just a few things that I changed about myself. There are many more, but I only have so much time. You see that in the movie Thor, we're back to our movie now, once he fell in love with the girl and saw how humans live down here, that he changed his view. And then at the end of the movie, towards the end, where he was under attack, did his hammer come back to him? Because then he was worthy, because he wasn't thinking only of himself. In my past, before being incarcerated, I only really thought about myself. I really didn't worry about any of the banks. I didn't worry, my wife. I was just, okay, what do I want? What do I need? This is what's going to make me happy. And that's why no matter how much money I would have gotten or power, I would have simply misused it, much like Thor. It wasn't until I learned to look and consider my behaviors on other people and what I can do to help others, was I able to come out of prison, rebuild my business, and provide a true service to my employees, to my customers, and my community. So I share this with you to look at your life. And I'm not saying money is bad. And I'm not saying those courses that teach you how to raise more money or create a click funnel on the internet are bad ideals. All I'm trying to share with you is this: money is not going to make you happy. It may temporarily, but whatever underlying insecurities you have or issues will only be magnified when you get this money. And as soon as your goal reached of the amount of money, you're gonna have those same empty feelings and unfulfilled desires where you're gonna have to go get something out. You first have to fix in here before things out here are going to be the way you want them. Because remember, life that we see out here is only projected from within. It's not the other way around. And like I shared with you, getting the car is not what's going to make you happy. Being happy, then you can get the car, then you can enjoy the car, but you know, if something happens to the car, you're still going to be happy because the happiness comes from within. We've gotten switched around where we believe the happiness is in the car. And if the happiness was in the car, that means no matter who we gave that car to, they would be happy. And that's not always the case. If you give that car to this person over here, he might say, I don't want a car. That causes pollution. That's gonna mess up the ozone. So the car is not where the happiness is. The happiness is inside of the person and is based on his perception. I hope this helped. And as always, remember, it's up to you to make your life matter.